cities, they don't go to those meetings, they watch it online.
You're live. Okay, thank you.
And write a story.
Oh, okay.
No, he sent us an email saying he wasn't going to make it.
Oh, how have you been?
No, it's just.
Oh, he's a coach.
Oh, cool.
She's one extra instead of director of the library.
Good evening. It is 7 p.m. Monday, May 5th, 2025. If we could call the Ferrisburg City Council meeting to order. Greg, could you call roll, please?
Mayor Carlson,
Here.
Councilmember Montgomery,
Here.
Councilmember Sias,
Here.
Councilmember Murdoch,
Here.
Councilmember Kate,
Here.
Councilmember DeWitt,
Here.
Councilmember Sterling.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I'd make a motion, we excuse Councilman Sterling.
Support.
Motion and support. Greg?
Councilmember Montgomery,
Yes.
Councilmember Sias,
Yes.
Councilmember Murdoch,
Yes.
Councilmember Kate,
Yes.
Councilmember DeWitt,
Yes.
Mayor Carlson,
Yes.
motion passed.
If we could all rise for an invocation by Council Member Bill Kate, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Lord God, we read in your word as written by the Apostle Paul that whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, any or moral excellence in anything praiseworthy, that we should think on those things. Pray that we'll keep that in mind tonight as we endeavor to our very best to exercise your gift of civil government. Be with us all as we attend tonight's meeting and grant us safety on our journey home. In your name we ask it. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Moving on to number 5, public comments. This is a time on the agenda for any citizen to direct brief comments or questions to the City Council. Time for public comments will be given when an agenda item is discussed. If you have a comment or question, please stand by the wall near the podium to ensure visibility and to be recognized. And after being recognized by the mayor, please give your name and address of residency for the record and proceed with your comment or question. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Do we have any public comments tonight? Seeing none, we'll move forward. Item 6A is consideration for approval of a consent agenda. 6A is approved the April 21st, 2025 City Council minutes as printed. 6B approved the bills memo in the amount of $136,542.84. And 6C recommend approval to the Michigan Liquor Control Commission of a Class C liquor license for CRS Company LLC located at 201 Pine Street. Yes, Craig.
Mr. Mayor, there's an item on your calendar tonight to add to the agenda.
Yes.
Looking for a consensus of City Council
Oh,
to
okay.
add this.
Could I get a motion to create 7A1, the proclamation for the dredging of Grand Haven's Inner Harbor?
I'll make a motion.
Support.
Got the motion and support, Craig?
Yes,
Okay, so that's 7A1.
yes.
Okay, very good.
Go ahead. Roll call. Councilmember Sias?
Hold on. Do we have any discussion regarding the consent agenda?
This is to
We're voting to add this.
Oh,
to
okay,
amend the agenda.
very good.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I have one question. 201 Pine Street, that's the old Pizza Hut?
So this motion on the floor we're gonna vote on right now is to amend the agenda to add 7A1 proclamation regarding dredging of the inner channel.
My apologies, Craig.
Councilmember Sias,
Yay.
Councilmember Murdoch,
Yes.
Councilmember Kate,
Yes.
Councilmember DeWitt,
Yes.
Councilmember Montgomery,
Yes.
Mayor Carlson,
Yes,
motion passed.
very good. So 7A1 is on the dredging of the harbor. Could I get a motion and support on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Support.
Do we have any discussion? Concerns or anything? Anyone? Seeing none, Craig, could you call roll, please?
Councilmember Murdoch,
Yes.
Councilmember Kate,
Yes.
Councilmember DeWitt,
Yes.
Councilmember Montgomery,
Yes.
Councilmember Sias,
Yay.
Mayor Carlson,
Yes.
motion passed.
Very good. If we could move on to new business now. 7A is proclamation by Ellen Peters, the Executive Director of the Loudoun District Library.
I just want to talk for a few minutes with you and Lisa Menrick, who is on our board. I would like to first pass out, like I did last year, our annual report so that you can kind of flip through it.
We've got a lot of exciting things to share for the city of Ferrisburg, what Loudoun District Library is going to be doing for you.
All right. The first thing I really wanted to talk about is we're excited because last year at this time we were looking to get a millage passed and it passed. So we are very relieved about that and excited. And as a result of that, we're able to add outreach going out into assisted living centers and other senior centers, things like that, preschools, daycares, and get out into the community and provide our services. We were also able to add more hours and add homebound mailing to people who can't make it into the library. So, and we have more coming, but that's the start, and we're really happy about that. Let's take a look. Do you want to talk about our wonderful donation and what we're going to do with it this year?
Do. We received $160,000 from the Wanderers to put in a Wanderers space.
Yeah.
And the
a
Wanderers
wonderful maker
space and the Sherwoods also donated. So we're looking at almost $200,000 between the Wanderers and the Sherwoods, and additional grants for an art space, a hands-on space in our library in the basement area with sinks. I've donated a pine fire cone kiln so we can do pottery, 3D printing. I mean, this is exciting, and this is all cutting edge things that libraries are doing for their communities.
Yeah, we're really, really excited about the new makerspace. As Lisa said, we'll have 3D printing and other technology kind of stuff. Augmented reality sandbox that kids, it teaches them geography and how rivers flow and all sorts of really cool things. Glowforge etched glass, and it etches metal and glass. An artisan space, as Lisa said, for painting, pottery, crafting. And then one of the neat things that we're getting is called a Tavertifel machine that was developed over in Europe. And what it is it's like a projector that shines down onto a table, but it runs off this really, really cool software, and it's meant for children. There are some games on there for children, but it's meant for adults with cognitive disabilities, people with dementia, and Alzheimer's. And so it shines things down. An example would be that it shows like dinner plates and forks and knives and napkins all in the middle of the table. And then the person can take their hand and drag them around the table, these images that are shown down, and set the table and things like that. And it's really, really successful for people with memory problems. It helps to stimulate them. And because we're now going out into these assisted living centers and places like this, We got the model, the Sherwoods donated the money so that we could get the model that is mobile, that we can take to all of these different places and use it. And it's just incredible. I would love to have you come and see a demonstration of it. It's really incredible. And so we're really excited to be getting that as part of the makerspace. And then also we're going to have a library of things where you can check out, we'll have like a sewing class in the makerspace, but then you can check out the sewing machine. Or we'll have gardening classes, and you can check out a bag full of gardening tools and things like that. And then speaking of gardening, so, can talk to you about the seed program that we have.
So if you go into an older library, you're going to go into a Dewey Decimal System as we used to know, and you looked up in the cards. Well, we've taken that a step higher. We have a seed collection in our Dewey Decimal furniture. So when you walk upstairs or come in from the very front, you're going to find a Dewey Decimal card system that is all seeds. So this is really cool, and this is for the community. Earth Day, we sent a lot of gardeners over to Loudoun District Library. Pick up your seeds, drop off seeds if you have excess. This is going to be a really good, positive thing. We're going to show people how to grow their own vegetables, how to grow their own flowers. And I think between the marriage, between the Dewey Decimal Seed Catalog and also the Tri-City Garden Club, we're merging. We have Autobahn that comes and uses our facility. We have knitters. We have sewers. We even have hot spots that many of the Ferrysburg community can get free of charge so that they have Wi-Fi, so they can do Kindle, they can do iPads, whatever they need if they have poor service where they live.
Yeah, and we also
The library
check
is
out
providing that.
prices. Yeah, so if you want a Chromebook, you can check that out and take it home as well. And
So I'm going to pass out some seeds
oh, good.
that I brought from the seed collection basin, so just
I just
pass them
bought all my
along,
seeds.
help yourself.
Yeah, you know, as the library has a ton of programs, you know that. We talked about it last time as well. But we're doing a new thing as well. I'm a member of the Founding Friends for Ottawa County Connect, it's called. And what that is digital empowerment for the entire county. And Lisa was talking about the hot spots. We have a real problem with people who can't get internet or a super slow internet. And so there was a really large grant from the state that Ottawa County received. And you might be aware that they're laying cable, they're putting in fiber all over the county. But as part of that, we want to make sure that the education for digital things and the access to devices and all of that kind of stuff is available to people. And so the libraries are going to be a big part of that. I'm part of that coalition. We're urging other libraries to join, so we have hotspots and Chromebooks that people can use, but you can also come in the library, use the Wi-Fi, and we now have a video conferencing room, so if you need to do telehealth appointments or job interviews, things like that, and you can't do it from home because of your internet or you don't have a device. So we're trying to bridge that gap, and we're working closely with the county. We're really excited about the partnership, and so I wanted to talk about that a little bit, and we don't want to take up a lot more of your time, so if you just want to talk.
Sure.
through some of
So we've got a summer reading program, and it's not just for children, it's for you guys as well. We have a lot of adults that love our prizes, and they're donated prizes, and some we picked up. They're amazing. For a summer reading kickoff party is June 7th from 10 to 2. And we have a summer reading print newsletter, which will be in your mailbox. I'll be bringing that over very soon. Also, we really thank you so very much for the millage that passed that allowed us to do what we were pre-COVID. Now we're back. We're back full-time, full throttle. We've got great programs. I mean, some of our programs are considered to be with genealogical. You can come in, make an appointment. You're going to be able to take your old videos, take your old pictures. You're going to be able to download them onto a disc so that you have them for posterity. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff going on, not just for children. And the summer program is the best. I just want you to know that, for you guys as well. We also have summer music programs of entertainment in the library on Sundays and Saturday afternoons. And we have readings, story hours for many of our small children. One of the things that Ellen knows I'm very passionate about is to get the lockers in Ferrisburg.
Yes.
So
I did want to talk about that a little bit, right? Sorry. We just put out a survey to all of our community, and one of the things that we ask is, would you like to have a set of lockers to pick up and drop off materials to, so you don't have to come to the library? And a pretty good portion of the Ferrisburg community said yes, they would like that. And so we probably, we're thinking maybe here, if I can work it out with the city manager over there, that we'll put in some lockers and make that available to the community. So I think
or
that's about
Leffings,
it.
or Leffings.
Or
I mean,
something, we'll find a place to put them.
wherever is the center. The other thing that millage is going to allow us to do, which I've looked at, is to be energy efficient. We have LED lighting throughout the entire library. We also are going to be putting solar in when we do our new roof. And I'm on Building and Grounds, and fiscal responsibility is tantamount to success with us, with our tax dollars going to the library. We will continue. Thank you guys so very much.
Thank you. Do you have
questions?
questions?
Go ahead, Jerry.
For those of you who don't know, Lisa Minarek serves on our Grand Haven Library Board, and it's a thankless position, and it's underappreciated. So I'd like to
Yes.
thank you, Lisa, for all you
Yes.
do for our
Thank you.
city. And I'd like to thank you for creating creating a drive for the satellite, the lockers here in Ferrisburg. I think
Yes.
that'll be beneficial to a lot of residents.
I think it will be, and especially in the winter when people don't like to cross the bridge. I'm not saying all of us don't, but my mother was always like creeping. But well, the bridge shut. Okay, so
Yeah.
So-
with the problems with the bridge.
I
we
know.
can- yeah.
So as a
Yeah.
school teacher for 47 and a half years, I know the value of a great library. We have it. We have unbelievable collections. So thank you very much for
Thank you.
what you've allowed us to do.
And also someday somebody will explain to me about crossing the bridge.
Every hour on the half hour, avoid it.
Did Wayne have a question?
Yeah, are there plans for any story walks in Ferrisburg this summer?
Yes, I believe. Let me double check that.
Just send it to the city manager and he'll.
Okay.
And then, of course, we always do the historical cemetery walk, which is amazing. And thank you, Represent Montgomery, for what you do and how you want us to, again, continue to do this for you and for the community. Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Yep, thanks.
Your Honor, Lisa, I
Yeah.
appreciate, since you've been on the board, we get your newsletter and your minutes regularly. I appreciate that. It's boring, but I read it anyway.
What? You mean I can't slip a joke in there every once in a while? No, I totally, I appreciate you reading them. This is amazing, and to go for these grants, Ellen has been just tantamount in getting money and helping us. She pushed us to the Community Foundation. I believe we wrote up $40,000 worth of grants since the term that I've been on, since 2017. I want to do more, of course, and there's more that we can do for Ferrisburg. Even if we can get a donated little van to drop off and go to area nursing homes, daycare centers, schools in the area, I think would be outstanding. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Lisa, or Ellen, I appreciate you guys coming in and sharing all that you guys have done. Is there anything that we can do for you guys to help support the library or all that you guys do?
Yes, come, you don't have to use it. You don't even have to come.
I use it every day on the app.
I mean, the electronic periodicals are getting astronomical, but we're still doing it. We are amazing what we're able to offer that with Lakeland Library Cooperative, that we can get you any book or any college textbook for children in the area we can try. It's pretty amazing. And no penal fines. Remember that. No penal. No, I think. Yeah. I've stopped and talked to the sheriff occasionally. You know, we need to. But wherever, because we don't have late fees, so that really helps us. And if you can give us a place to put lockers in this community, you guys know this area the best. Would really love it. I think it would benefit a lot of people, 5 to 7, possibly, boxes. For people to come and pick up, we'll give them the combination and they can.
What are the dimensions?
The dimensions for different ones. Yeah, we have larger ones for larger books and smaller ones for smaller books.
Do you have them somewhere we can go look at?
Oh, yes. In our
Yeah.
garage.
Oh,
Grand
okay.
Haven, Robinson Township. Robinson Township, Dropbox. Yeah, I mean, we're on the forefront. It's amping up to
Yeah.
do this for the,
So there's existing boxes to look at in your parking structure,
yes,
close to the entrance to the
Yes.
library in the
Yes.
parking structure?
yes.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Your Honor?
Maybe staff can give us a couple ideas and we can have a set, add this to our work session next week, in 2 weeks.
Can you get that? Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest we put it on a work session and, see if we can move forward for support to the library.
Anybody else have any other questions or comments for the library? Seeing none, let's move on. Thank you so much for coming this
Thank
evening.
you.
Thank you for the
you.
seats.
Yeah, I'll take the excess seats. Craig, did you want any?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh,
A couple-
the
I
mayor
have
wants a
couple
couple.
flowers I wanted to grab.
They're free, just dump them out.
Sorry.
Bag.
Oh,
Oh, we did have vegetables in there.
Good.
Okay. Oh,
Good.
those are good.
good.
And those are, you can eat those. You will not die.
Really?
They can go in your
They will
salad.
not, you won't die if you eat them?
Yes, yours does. They're peppery tasting.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your time. Moving on to 7A1, which is the proclamation regarding the dredging of Grand Haven's Inner Harbor. Craig, is this something that I should read aloud?
Yeah, just so everybody knows what it's about.
Okay. Do we first need to get a motion and support on the floor for this?
Please.
Probably.
I would make a motion to support.
Support.
I'll read this first. Proclamation dredging Grand Haven's Inner Harbor. The Grand Haven Harbor is a significant regional receiving port on the Great Lakes. The Army Corps of Engineers has dredged the Grand Haven Inner Harbor on a routine basis to allow for aggregate to be dropped off at various locations along the Grand Haven Inner Channel, including 2 major taxpayers within the city of Ferrysburg. Whereas the Grand Haven Inner Harbor was on the list to be dredged in 2025, and whereas the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, otherwise known as EGLE, requires the sediment sampling and has added testing for per and polyfluoroalkyl PFAS, sorry about that, And whereas the Army Corps of Engineers will determine impacts relative to PFAS levels through testing of sediment, and the ACOA cannot dredge the inner harbor until the Eagle permit is issued. And whereas the dredging of the inner harbor has been put on hold due to PFAS testing, which may require ships to light load, and whereas the loss of between 4 and 5 feet of channel depth will result in increased transportation costs of between $4 and $5.7 million annually. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Richard Carlson, Mayor of City of Ferrisburg, request that Eagle expedite permitting for the Grand Haven Inner Harbor, and be it further resolved that I further request Governor Whitmer to assist in requesting Eagle expedite the permitting for dredging the Grand Haven Inner Harbor. Any questions or comments?
I would just say that it would be great to have on here somewhere that carbon impact as we're moving forward with this energy commission and trying to reduce our carbon output as a municipality. This is going to increase it quite significantly.
Excellent thought. Craig, there appears to be a typo. The PFAS doesn't read very clearly, I'll tell you that.
I'll look at it.
The scientific name. In the second whereas,
I'll look into it.
that can be corrected. So we have a motion and support on the floor. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Craig?
Councilmember Kate?
Yes.
Councilmember DeWitt?
Yes.
Councilmember Montgomery?
Yes.
Councilmember Sias?
Yes.
Councilmember Murdoch?
Yes.
Mayor Carlson?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Very good. Moving on to 7B, discussion to take action if appropriate to approve a quote from Anchor Excavating for $9,750 for the Cecilia Lane Ditch Project. Craig, you want to fill us in on this?
Yes. Last fall, we had a resident come in that lives on Cecilia Lane requesting that the ditch in front of the property be filled in. At that time, there was a couple quotes that City Council reviewed. The low quote was from Northern Plumbing at $12,405. At that time, due to the cost, City Council has indicated that they would not fill the ditch in and requested the Public Works Department to clean out the ditch. Public Works Department did go out there and clean out the ditch. Since that time, the homeowner has received another quote from Anchor Excavating for the $9,750 to clean out the ditch, and the homeowner has offered to pay 25% of that cost. So we do have the homeowner here today, if you like it.
For Cecilia.
On Cecilia Lane, correct?
Okay. I see in here you're talking about Jean as well. That's a totally different project. The Jean Street ditch.
The Jean Street ditch was something that City Council did back in 2023. In 2021, residents along Virginia Avenue petitioned the city to do something with the Jean Street ditch. There was concern with the smell of the water standing in there and mosquitoes. And at that time, City Council requested staff to clean out that ditch, and that was done. And back in 2023, it had overgrown again. The residents came in and requested City Council to enclose that ditch due to the mosquito concern and of the odor. And at that time, City Council approved doing that, and that was an $8,000 cost.
Okay. Jean Street, was that in the public right away?
Jean Street is a platted but undeveloped street.
Okay.
We have a,
Certainly.
I'll make a
Jean Street,
We gotta, we're putting
Can
the
I make a
motion.
motion first?
Go ahead.
do we have to have a motion to discuss it? Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the bid from Anchor Excavating for $9,750 for the Cecilia Lane Ditch Project.
Support.
Okay, motion and support on the floor. So my first question was about Jean Street, that's public right away.
Yes.
Cecilia, this project?
This project is in the road right away, yes.
Connor, Jean Street, the city has no equipment to get in there and clean out that ditch, so we had to subcontract that clean out. At that time, there were some neighbors that petitioned the city council to enclose the ditch, at which time the public works director indicated, because we could not maintain that ditch in the future without an outside contractor, that he recommended we fill it in. So that's kind of the history on that one. Over on William Street, maybe 15, 16 years ago, we had the same situation where residents wanted to fill in the ditch in the city pilot, such as what we're proposing here. City refused. At that time, the city residents took up a collection. There's 5 or 6 of them. I don't recall. I barely recall it because George Dunning was the public works director at the time. Anyway, they ponied up the money. The city paid for the engineering. The residents paid to fill in the ditch and the actual work. So that's where we're at that. As far as this situation, let's be honest. Mr. Weber just wants, this is aesthetically terrible. He wants to be able to mow his grass. The ditch is performing properly, and to his contention that he made a contention here that it's dangerous for the children in the area. We can send a city crew over there and make the ditch wider and slope the banks, so if a child did get in, they could get out easier. I agree with him that it is narrow and deep, but we're still in the city right away. We can slope that ditch back to for a safety issue if that's a major concern to them. We're opening a can of worms here. Who's the next one that's going to come and want us to do it? Once you do it for someone, you're setting a precedent. Once you set a precedent, where do you go from there? The next person that comes in, there's 3 or 4 other people who got the same situation that already suggested to me that they would be agreeable to having their ditches filled in. So I just think this is a can of worms that his contention at first was the ditch was backing up water. We went out, cleaned it out. It was full of brush. Obviously, that was our responsibility to clean it out. We did that. The it's doing what it's designed to do. I just can't see the city ponying up this money. If he wants to pay for it, got no problem with it, but I just don't think the city should pay to aesthetically improve his property.
Yeah,
Anyone else have any comments?
yeah,
Yes.
I do. Craig, is this work that the DPW is capable of doing?
I'm not sure they have the equipment to set the structures.
Are you talking about doing this work or
Yeah.
just cleaning
No,
it out?
Doing this work.
Okay.
So my concern is it is our responsibility to take care of it, and having the DPW go out there every year, every 2 years gets expensive to continue to clean it out. It seems to me like under 10 grand, DPW never has to take care of it again. Probably makes financial sense.
Your Honor,
Yes, Jerry.
if I may. According to my calculations, roughly, the city would be responsible for about $7,100 of this project after contributions from the land. Right?
About $7,300.
About $7,300. Yeah. I think that's a win-win for me. The landowner, property owners willing to participate and contribute to the cost of this project by 25%. that's saying something. This has been an eyesore. I believe it's a health hazard because there is residual water in there. Gonna be insects. There's gonna be somebody that falls in there and gets injured. And then also, I believe that this is low-hanging fruit when it comes to the water cleanup and water quality. Everything that is washed off the roads goes into that ditch, which drains right into Smith's Bayou. And by covering that up, it would create a natural filter for the salt and the different runoffs from the road before the water enters the bayou. So, you know, it serves on several hands beneficial to the city with the water quality and the fact that we're getting rid of a health hazard and an eyesore for only $7,000. And like Councilmember Montgomery said, through the years, this is going to start to accumulate costs. So if we fill it in now with a landowner's, property owner's help, I think it's something we need to move forward with. I support it.
Your Honor? David?
I'd like to know why we agreed Celia Lane 2023, but now some people don't want to do this one. What's the difference?
Jean Street, we didn't have really the equipment to go in there and clean it out properly. We had to hire it out. And Public Works did some of it, but there was a lot of brush and fill removed, so.
Well, if the owner has so far this year pulled out 2 dead animals, DBW is not coming there weekly. So these animals are dying in there, and that is going into Smith's Bayou. I just find that unsavory.
Yeah, I'm not sure the DPW drives by there every day or how often they do drive by, but they do maintain it when there's an issue out there and they're aware of it.
I'm all for just going ahead with this.
Yeah, and cost of DPW adds up.
Your Honor?
Mr. DeWitt.
Craig, before this construction starts, should we have the city engineer look at this and make sure it's installed properly?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Weber, did you want to say some words?
Yeah.
If you're going to speak, come on up.
Ryan Weber, 16916 Cecilia, I'm the property owner that's kind of referenced here. I don't want to beat a dead horse, and a lot of what you guys said is what I was going to already say anyway. I just wanted to make one quick point that the maintenance side of it, I'm not trying to like pass that off on Public Works or anybody else. Like I try to do it for a long time. The maintenance that we're referencing is not like a weed whacker and like a lawn mower. It's like a backhoe that comes in. So it is substantial. It's not just like a quick little, they swing by and do it. But anyway, if you have any questions, here.
Okay, very good.
Your Honor.
Yes, Lynn.
Greg, when we did the other one, Jean Street, did property owners pay anything for that?
No. Straight city cost.
How often are we asking?
Besides when Williams, the Jean Street and the Cecilia Street are the only ditches I recall.
I get apprehensive of asking our taxpayers to pay more for something that we already agreed is our responsibility.
Well, wouldn't necessarily say
Yeah,
it's.
I mean, it's very generous, and I truly do appreciate it. I just hate requiring it.
Craig, I'm concerned about setting precedent. I talk about it frequently, about setting precedent. And Mr. DeWitt mentioned it. How many drains do we have that conceivably could be covered in the city?
Off the top of my head, I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, what's our exposure with drains that are going through people's yards?
I would have to review it. I don't have a good answer for
Now,
you.
granted, this is in the city right away, so it's not really going through their yard, but
Right.
it's in their front.
I don't have an answer.
I mean, this is no more precedent setting than Jean Street.
Well, Jean Street is a city right away. It was a city maintained drainage ditch. We couldn't maintain. That's why what was done because we could not physically get in there to maintain it with our equipment. So rather than hire every 2 years or 3 years, an outside contractor to come in, this was a one-shot, one-time deal to get it done. So that was the recommendation for Pat, the city public works director at the time, because we physically, the only way they could maintain that ditch is to go in there with a chainsaw and, you know.
So Jean Street, we were not able to maintain it. This one, we are able to
We
maintain.
are able to maintain it. And to Mr. Weber's comments, the city can take that bank back so it isn't such a deep,
Sharp angle.
angle.
Mhm.
And that's something the city can do.
Okay.
Ditch is performing as it's designed to do. It's draining the area. I gotta be honest with you, my thought, this is just strictly Mr. Weber wants aesthetic because it's in his front yard between his house and his garage. The city should pay $7,000 for, I just don't get it. If he wants to pay 100%, I got no problem with it, but, you know, that's where I'm at.
Not necessarily disputing some of what you said. It is an eyesore. That you're not wrong about that. That is part of the reason we want it out of there. And to your point, it is steep, and yeah, maybe we could like reduce that grade going into there. There's a lot of neighborhood kids that play around there, my kids being some of them. Again, not trying to say that I'm not the person that wants it filled in, I do. But it's not just my kids around there. It's a common space where people walk. It's right across from a street end park where people were bringing kayaks and walking through and enjoying it, and it's just not really a great look for Ferrisburg, in my opinion, or my property, agree. And to be honest, the reason they're talking about us contributing funds to it when we brought it in October, one thing that was brought up, I think maybe Mr. DeWitt, was that he offered if we paid half of it, if we would accept that. I wasn't really in a position to do that without talking to my wife, but so hence the reason why, you know, we went and found a lower quote that actually is the company or contractor that did the ditch down the street. So it's reputable. You guys have used them before. I've used them before on different projects. They're good. And we, you know, came up with what I think is a generous offer to help contribute. And then also to add to the precedence conversation, I do think the precedence that was set down the street, yeah, I know that there's some differences. You guys are able to maintain that, or we're not able to maintain that. But again, this maintenance isn't light work. It's difficult, heavy machinery that comes in to maintain it. And I think if anything, this is probably improving on precedence. It's showing that a property owner is contributing to it, as opposed to just asking for something for free.
Anyone have any other questions for Mr. Weber? No? Okay, thank you. Any other comments? City Council?
Your Honor,
Yes,
I'd
Jerry.
just like to add one other thing. You know, a city is judged on its appearance, and that ditch is an eyesore. And I truly believe that the benefits outweigh the negative possibilities here, negative effects. I think this is just a win-win situation. So I hope that the rest of the council will support this.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Jerry. I mean, we have requirements of our residents to maintain grass height and everything else, but now we're not going to do our part. We're all hypocrites.
Anything else? No?
Your Honor.
Yes.
Craig, do you need clarification on the motion that I made?
Yeah, you might want to add.
So the motion I made was to approve the $9,750 for the Cecilia Lane project. As far as I'm concerned with the motion, if the Webers want to contribute, make a donation, they're more than welcome to. But my motion was to pay for the whole thing because we've done it in other places and feel that's the right thing to do. I feel too often we make decisions as a city and then make our residents come back and pay for services that we should provide.
In terms of setting precedent, though, it might be nice to have the 25% noted in your motion.
That would at least stop some of the, everybody thinks they're gonna get it free.
Well, everything's a case-by-case basis.
I understand.
What
And
you
we've
said.
already approved one for,
Are you willing to change your motion and put the 25% in there provided by the property owner? That way, 5 years down the road, we can, looking through it, we'd say, oh, yes, but the landowner paid 25%.
I'm not opposed to it. I'd
Okay.
rather not, but not opposed to it. Deb, Jerry, Bill?
I think that's
I think that would set my mind at ease a little better, because in the future, we set a precedent, yes, but we also set a precedent that the homeowner's gonna pony up somewhat. And I would also like, William to, put in there contingent on the city engineer looking at the project, make sure that it's done to specifications that he approves. Once we get a drain in there, if it don't work right, now we got a major problem.
Yeah, I'm good with the part about having the city engine. But
Prior to construction.
You want to read what you have there thus far?
Yeah. I guess I need clarification on 25%, please.
Bill or Deb, what are your thoughts on?
I could go either way.
Yeah,
I think we keep it 25%. I think it deters everybody running out for.
I can think about 6 or 8 other ditches, and 2 people have already spoken to me about it, and one would be a major expense. So, 25%, I think Mr. Weber was more than fair to make that offer. I don't agree with the project at all, but that being said, we are setting a precedent, but we are setting a precedent for homeowner ponies up somewhat. You got all that, Craig?
Well, we'll have to.
If that's consensus of council, I'm good with the 25.
Who supported that motion?
Debbie?
Oh,
No, I think I could.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
fine.
So 25% and reviewed by the city engineer.
Okay, very good.
Anyone else before we take roll? Okay, Craig?
Councilmember DeWitt?
No.
Councilmember Montgomery?
Yes.
Councilmember Sias?
Yes.
Councilmember Murdoch?
Yes.
Councilmember Kate?
yes.
Mayor Carlson?
No.
Motion passed.
Very good. Moving on to 7C. Discussion and to take action if appropriate to approve a memorandum of understanding, an MOU, between the County of Ottawa, the City of Grand Haven, and the City of Ferrisburg to establish cooperative working relations to assist the management of the Grand Haven open space located between the Kitchell-Lindquist Hartford Dunes Preserve and Ottawa Sands Park, and to authorize the mayor and city council, the city clerk, to sign the memorandum of understanding. Could I get a motion, please, in support?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Support. Very good. Craig, you want to fill us in on this?
Gary Post is kind of
Great.
to go over this if you want, Gary.
Gary Post, 18827 North Shore Drive. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. This has been a really exciting process, working collaboratively with the county park system and also the City of Grand Haven and Craig on the Kitchell-Lindquist board. After many visits to the property over the years and many conversations with all the stakeholders, we're very happy that we've come up with what we think is a creative, innovative solution where we're using our expertise on the Kitchell-Lindquist board and our familiarity with the Kitchell-Lindquist property and our past practices of getting volunteers out there to pull invasive species and to police the property. And I'd like to also introduce Neely Mohawk from Ottawa County Parks. Neely, would you come up and join me? Neely is the coordinator of Natural Features Management. Natural Resources Management. So we have sort of a committee of people with the county parks, and I'd like Neely to just mention who else is kind of on her team with this.
In the county parks, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, Jason Shamblin, our director, has kind of spearheaded this, or really pushed this through, at least on the parks side, this MOU. And then Kurt Terhar, which is our coordinator of planning and development for the parks. Thank you. And Aaron Botbiomast, who is our parks planner and grants manager for the parks. And it works really well for us with our strategic planning initiative that we just introduced in 2024. We're kind of looking a lot at landscape level restoration and land management. So just because all of these properties are kind of in a line together, natural features, invasive species, and as well as native species don't recognize boundaries between different civil districts, right? So our hope is to kind of manage everything as one in ways that all of the different entities agree with. So we just want to provide as much guidance and assistance as we can while taking everyone's viewpoints into account and making sure that everyone is happy.
Thank you. And this agreement has already been signed off by the mayor of Grand Haven. And of course, we have strong support from Ottawa County Parks. And you have a recommendation for support from the Kitchell-Lindquist Dune Board. And I'd just like to make one other comment. We're talking about rebranding Ferrysburg and maybe looking at the Ottawa Peninsula. This property we're talking about really is the Ottawa Peninsula. It's going down from Ottawa Sands into this area that is called North Shore Dunes, or just the open space, and then the Kitchell-Lindquist property, located in Grand Haven, but owned and managed by Ferrysburg. So there is this natural corridor for birds and animals and people, and we're hoping that by entering into this agreement, we will eventually get a walking trail from Kitchell-Lindquist up to Hoffmaster, and we'll be doing it with a lot of careful attention to the details, and we're not looking for financial contribution from Ferrysburg. We're relying on our strong expertise in the Kitchell-Lindquist Board and our experience getting volunteers out there.
Yeah, in addition, Ottawa County Parks does a lot of volunteer work. We had about 10,000 hours of volunteer contributions last year, most of which was, restoration stuff. So a lot of invasive species removal, and a lot of the plans, restoration plans, natural resources management plans that we would like to help contribute to would be a lot of invasive species removal or native ecosystem restoration. So,
do you have any questions for us?
Anyone have any comments?
Your Honor?
Yes.
Gary, talking prior to the meeting here that this would allow Kitchell-Lindquist and board to pursue grants for like the paved walking trail or trails, with this understanding that would enhance our chances of grant approval?
Yes, certainly. Having this collaborative approach and being able to show that everything has been taken into consideration, that we've done the natural features inventory, that we're trying to come up with something sensitive and appropriate for the property, and also getting a buy-in from all the parties, in particular the landowner, the city of Grand Haven, and then the great writing staff support that the county has, we're thinking that would expedite everything, that it would be a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, and I would add also that area in particular, that whole kind of region, I mean, it's the confluence of the largest river in Michigan with one of the largest lakes in Michigan. So it's a natural fit for conservation. So it's really been targeted by a lot of these different organizations and collaboratives that are looking to strategically protect land. So organizations like Audubon Great Lakes. So we've gotten grant money from Audubon Great Lakes to do restoration because that's such a prioritized area. Also things like, there was a meeting that I wasn't able to go to today. What was it? Oh no, I'm not remembering. But either way, there are a lot of different organizations that really prioritize this area just because of its natural features, but also there's just so much potential there. Obviously, there's been a lot of disturbance, but because of its location, it just has a ton of potential. So we really want to encourage that as much as we can.
Your Honor. Gary, at one point there was concern that the city of Grand Haven was gonna sell that 160 acres for development. Does the agreement lock that to prevent that development in this agreement?
No, it does not. To be honest, we hope that this is a step toward the recognition that the property should be preserved, but City of Grand Haven, their council specifically noted that this is, you know, a kind of a non-binding agreement. This is just agreeing to let Ferrisburg and the county park system help them manage the property. And, you know, of course, I'm hoping that down the line, this will build public support for the preservation and protection of the property. But Grand Haven wasn't quite ready to say absolutely positively that no sale could ever be mentioned. So I think this is really a good creative solution to move us slowly in that direction, but it doesn't at this point prevent further development.
Is that something Kitchell Lindquist is pursuing with the city of Grand Haven?
Excuse me?
Is that something that Kitchell Lindquist is pursuing to get that designated as parkland or donated to Kitchell Lindquist or some of that nature?
Well, we are a nature preserve, and we would really like this adjacent. I think that goes without saying that that's how we think it ought to be. But you're dealing with other people's property, and we're trying to be respectful of Grand Haven's. I think there's a lot of support, but they just don't want to be cornered on this yet, and we're just trying to have good conversation and move forward with at least an annual meeting, probably 2 meetings a year. I believe the assistant city manager is going to be the designated liaison for us going forward. And there is also, by the way, one remaining piece of property adjacent to the Kitchell Lindquist property where the owners are actively trying to sell that property, and the Kitchell Lindquist board has made an offer to buy it, and we haven't been able to agree on a price.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Gary, and I'm sorry, what?
Neely?
Neely, I'd like to thank you for all you do out there. You know, the residents of Ferrisburg don't understand the importance of our entire ecosystem that is supported through KLH. With the pools out there, there are endangered frogs, from what I understand, that nest out there, and it's really needs to be a priority to preserve that property and to keep it in its natural state. So whatever I can do to help support you, definitely, I'm whatever I can do. Yeah, so I'm all for it. So thank you.
Thank you. And it goes without saying, we're here to ask for your support to sign the memorandum.
In response to your concern about the city of Grand Haven agreeing to not sell it, it's zone, I don't think it's zoned residential now, isn't it zoned park or something? Do you remember, Craig?
It's not zone park,
It's not
waterfront
zoned
or something.
residential though.
No.
I realize, trust me, I realize that. It's been sitting there for years and years with Grand Haven not doing anything with it. And I think it's interesting that the KLH Dunes Preserve Board is being recognized that, hey, you guys are doing such a great job with stewardship with the KLH Dunes. Even though Grand Haven is saying we're not gonna sell it, it's a huge admission to them to say, hey, we need somebody that can come in and manage, do an assessment of what's there and manage that property, because it hasn't been managed forever. So I view it as a win-win. It's gonna help protect KLH and certainly Ottawa Sands.
Yeah, absolutely. Just one last thing that I wanted to mention as far as like landscape level land management. There are a ton of invasive species in this property, and that is why I personally have been really pushing for this, because I've been wanting to manage that forever. I've been with the parks for 10 years, but even before that, I grew up in Grand Haven, and I can tell you exactly which invasive species are there. And not only that, but they do spread over to KLH, and they do spread over to Ottawa Sands. And also they increase tick population, so just a little incentive there.
Yes.
Connor, perhaps we get this understanding, maybe in the future, KLH could apply for a grant to buy that. Kicking that out there, to put a seed in your head.
From your lips to God's ears.
Anyone else have any other questions or concerns? Yeah.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who made the motion?
Somebody made the motion,
Did I?
second it.
Will and Mike.
Very good. Okay, seeing no more discussion, Craig, did you call roll on this, please?
Councilmember Montgomery,
Yes.
Councilmember Sias,
Yes.
Councilmember Murdoch,
Yes.
Councilmember Kate,
Yes.
Councilmember DeWitt,
Yes.
Mayor Carlson,
Yes.
motion passed.
Very good. Moving on to 7D, introduction of ordinance number 337, an ordinance to amend and restate chapter 32 of the city code, section 32.80 ethics. Thank you for coming.
So we don't need a motion, this is just introduction.
That is correct. Craig, did you want to review this real quick?
Yes. So there's been some concerns with the current ethics ordinance. And at the last meeting, the city council reviewed the current ordinance. And there was some discussion about just including, paring down the ordinance a little bit to get rid of some of the conduct and other items in there and focus on what would be prohibited with the ethics. So we did some research, and State Act lists 7 items that would be qualified for a violation of ethics. So those 7 items were included in this draft ordinance. And the complaint procedure would be pretty much the same, that it would come to the city clerk. But the difference would be that once it goes to the city clerk, it would go to the city council for review. After city council review, they would make a decision at the meeting by majority vote to either pass the complaint on to the legal counsel, whoever that might be, or to dismiss the complaint.
Your Honor,
Yes.
just so I understand, so a complaint is filed with Amber, and then it comes to us to read it?
to review it, yes, to decide whether to dismiss it or send it on to legal counsel. It doesn't have to be city attorney, it can be outside of legal counsel, whatever city council decides.
Any other questions or comments, anyone?
Greg, I think this form, is a good start, but there's some verbiage that needs to be updated that's state specific. Like the name of the state executive branch employee on the first page.
What is it, Will?
In the form that our intern created.
Name of state executive or branch employee or public officer complained about.
And the next one too, name of state executive branch department where the employee, public officers. employed. It's just, I think this is a great.
Staff will just have to review it,
Yep, we can do that.
okay? Anyone else have anything?
And then I don't know if Amber is a notary, so I don't know. Does it need to be notarized?
We do have, Amber is a notary plus one, office staff is too.
And is there value in notarizing this? Or is that just causing extra work?
Probably make it just a little more official if it was
Okay.
notarized.
That's fine.
Would you like it notarized?
It's on there now.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking.
Okay.
Yes.
I think this is a step forward in the process from what we've had. Asking the city attorney to adjudicate it and prosecute it is a clear-cut conflict of interest, so.
Yes.
And I think it should come to city council to, and then refer it to an attorney at that
Mhm.
point, so from what I'm seeing of this,
Anyone else have anything?
Your Honor?
Yes.
I like it primarily because of the complaint form, other than the minor wording that we need to rework a little bit, because it makes the complainant identify a specific item or thing or action that they're aggrieved about. And it can't be just a hurt feelings kind of thing. And because we've seen all too much of that. And I do like the addendum that identifies the cost of facetious or frivolous complaint.
Your Honor, I did notice that the city of, is that Hamtramck?
Hamtramck?
Yeah, now they do what we, as far as the complaint goes to the city clerk, and then the city clerk takes. That's what.
right, but the problem with that is how can you
I don't have a problem at all.
I don't know how you can ask an attorney
We
to
have to spell,
prosecute.
we have to
Well, and I think the form solves that, at least.
But this will allow us to be responsive when people have got valid complaints and cut off a lot of the fluff.
in all fluff.
Greg, will you put on there that they can mail or deliver?
Yeah.
Require them to. Harrisburg is that big.
Your Honor,
Yes.
on the complaint form, did we want to add another box for other? In case something in our charter doesn't fall under the state Ethics Act? There's 7 articles there now. Should we put an 8th article for other?
We talked about it before. This is straight off the state ethics website, right, Craig?
Yes.
And, like, well, I see what you're saying, Jerry. At the end of the day, like, other is not enforceable. These are
Well, I
specifically.
mean, it'd have to be another ordinance that's in our charter, like.
But
whatever,
ethically,
not
that's-
covered under the state.
But we've
charter.
been told by our attorney that ethically, that's not covered. Like,
Well, if there's an ordinance in our charter that somebody,
correct, and we've been told that that's wrong, but
Right.
not unethical. And I'm not saying I agree with it, Gary. I'm not saying I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's what
That has
we've
been the
told.
ruling a few times.
Right.
well, yeah.
So-
I
so-
got, if something's in our charter and we're guilty of. committing
Wholeheartedly
a-
agree, but
Yeah,
Your
I
Honor.
don't know, it just.
that's just not how state ethics. I agree with you, but
I think adding a block that says other opens the door we're trying to close to frivolous complaints.
Well, it still has to go through us. We're still the
I-
fail-safe. I mean,
I get it, but
yeah. I mean,
I
I don't
think
have an
other is a
example,
door that we do
but,
not want to open. I'm just,
yeah,
my opinion.
yeah.
Anyone else? Yes,
I think we're trying to close that door.
yes, we
I
are.
think this does it right. Other bird flew by and I can make a complaint to Craig because he didn't stop the bird.
Well, no, it still has to fall under our charter.
Well, that,
We have a code of conduct, and there may be something in our code of conduct that doesn't fall under the state act. So our charter
But it's
may
not-
go farther than the state act, is what I'm saying.
right.
And there's no recourse if we don't have another box to file under.
Well, like coming back to my example earlier, right? We have an ordinance that requires your grass to not be over a certain length. So I could file an ethics complaint saying Councilman Sias's grass is too long. Right? It's not an ethical complaint. It's not an ethical.
Right, well, I
You're
mean,
right.
that's why we have a fail, so that's why it's gonna
you
go through the
violate the
council.
charter, and the city's gonna send you a letter, a warning letter, and a fine, but it's not unethical, and that's what.
I'm afraid that this is gonna create a lot of loopholes that people are gonna be able to exploit and,
But at the end of the day, we already have those, and our attorney won't rule on them.
They're unenforceable. Creating the checkbox for other, Jerry, is what's gonna open up a lot of loopholes. This way, we've got the 7 things that the state has determined would be valid violations.
Right.
And anything beyond that is not a matter of ethics. It's not enforceable.
well, that means we'd have to rewrite our whole code of conduct possibly. If we're gonna make this our code of conduct, then it competes with our charter if we have code of conduct that goes farther than the state. Does that make sense?
Mr. Bessinger, do you want to weigh in on this? What happens when
The state is the basic law, but the city has the right to go further than the state in law. So if our charter goes further than the state's act, they will have no recourse without another box.
So if there's a violation of the city charter, there's really no penalty in there, but there's verbiage in there that how a city council member can be removed from office. And basically, it's gonna be by the governor. There's really no other penalty if someone does something like votes on a contract that they were partner in. That would be something that unethical. But if they're saying something about somebody else that's not ethical, it's not covered in the complaints or ethics ordinance.
I'm not
Okay.
speaking of
Yes,
moral
Jerry.
laws. I'm not speaking of ethical laws. I'm speaking of things that are in our charter under the code of conduct that may not fall under the state's ethics act.
So the city code of conduct is not in the city charter. The code of conduct has been put together and approved by city council years back. And that's included in everybody's personnel manual.
So there is no recourse against us if we go against the code of conduct? It wouldn't fall under the ethics complaint?
No. It'd be a violation of the code of conduct.
Well, why do we even have a code of conduct? I mean, if there's no recourse.
That's what, it used to be the same way with the code of ethics, and that's what changed it years back, because somebody wanted to be able to do something if there was a penalty. And that's, we changed it to allow someone to file the ethics complaint, and that's when it opened up the number of complaints that we received over the last 2 years.
Your Honor,
Yes.
to Jerry's point, if a citizen is, whatever, he can always come to city council, make a statement, and city council can rule on any issue. Correct, Craig?
Correct.
So to alleviate your concerns, there is a recourse. We have public comments. They can come in, make a statement. We can refer it to the attorney. We can rule on it. So your concern, I think, is a little exaggerated, because there are alternatives to exactly what this says. If there's a violation of the city charter, as you're expressing.
They could come and do public comment,
They could come do public comment and demand some kind of answer.
for city council to do something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, say, hey, we demand some kind of response from city council. Now, we may not have to do it right then and there, but we are then under obligated to investigate it or make a ruling on it.
Your Honor, can I
Yes.
ask Craig? Craig, how have we addressed code of conduct violations in the past, or have we never had?
I don't recall receiving any.
Oh, okay.
This is just the first reading.
Correct.
You're gonna be making some changes and presenting this to us.
Just some verbiage in the form.
Okay. Is
Nothing-
this voted on next meeting?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor,
Yes.
a quick question, Craig. Is it legal for us to charge a citizen to make an ethical complaint? I would like a ruling on that from Craig, from Brooks. I don't think, if you're gonna charge me $500 to make a complaint, I don't know if that's,
We're not charging them to
No.
make the complaint.
Only if it's frivolous.
Only if it's frivolous.
well, your idea of frivolous and my idea of frivolous is,
Well, the attorney already said it's very unlikely that anything will be ruled frivolous.
I'd just alleviate my fears, have Brooks make us a quick ruling on that, would you?
That's already in our, it's already in our,
I don't know, if he's ever made a ruling, has he?
he said that the likelihood of ever making frivolous ruling is very, it won't ever, very difficult. in court. But it is in our charter, that's $500.
Okay.
Or in our ordinance, isn't it?
No,
In the current ethics ordinance?
the current ethics, but it's not in the draft.
Well, it's on the form.
That's
It's
the
on
old
this
form.
form, but it's not on our original form.
It's
is
in the
on the-
current ordinance right now. What I'm saying, Craig, is it's on the form that the intern created on the second page at the very bottom.
Right.
So if it's on the form, it needs to be in the updated language as well.
Has the attorney drawn that up, Craig?
The attorneys reviewed it, yes.
Okay, that was my question, thank you.
Okay. Let's move on to 7E, discussion and take action if appropriate to schedule a work session as a regular agenda item on May 19th, 2025. Craig, what do you got so far?
There was some discussion about reviewing, city adopting the cost recovery ordinance. And then there's been some discussion on reviewing the policy and procedures for city council.
Craig, could you elaborate on cost recovery ordinance, just exactly what we're talking about?
There was some discussion that if there was an accident or something, the fire department had to respond, or the police department had to respond, that the city might be able to recoup some of the cost.
Okay, could we get a statement from fire department, because that would probably be our biggest cost recovery. It seems like 10 years ago or something, it said us charging like car accidents, that kind of thing. Could you review that with him and have him give us a recommendation in his eyes?
I did review this with the fire chief, and he does not support a cost recovery ordinance.
That's what, question I got is, if you respond to an accident I'm in and you have to extradite me, is it typical for the city or the fire department to charge the insurance company to recover the cost?
We did a quick research on some other communities that have a cost recovery ordinance, and basically most of those were if the accident was alcohol related.
But not,
And,
correction.
right, correct.
Yeah, I guess I would like to investigate it. You know, our budget keeps shrinking. Costs keep going up, our money keeps shrinking. Might be a way to recover something.
Sounds like a good work session.
I think so.
Okay.
But,
Craig, I'd like to add May 19th, the drop doc.
Yep.
Staff can come
Yep.
with some recommendations.
Craig,
Anyone else?
could you get us some kind of measurements as to size of what we're talking about on that drop box?
Yep.
I'd like to see us go ahead with that.
That wide.
Put it in the Indy driveway, right in the middle.
It's not much bigger than the NBU that's out there right now.
Your Honor, I have,
Yes.
I have a question. Do we know when the grand opening?
No, I do not. Not yet. I got a note to try to find that out.
Okay.
Anyone else regarding work session? Nothing? Okay. Very good. Now it's time for additional public comments. 7F, do we have any public comments? Seeing none, let's move forward. Report, city manager.
No report?
Okay.
No report.
No report? Okay.
Same here, no report.
I went to the Ferrisburg Nature Preserve Walk hike 2 weeks ago. Great turnout. Thanks for the mayor for saying some words. Thanks for the rec commission for planning it, Gary for planning it, and being our tour guide through the park. Always appreciate it. Great time, and I'm sorry I missed the KLH hike, but everybody.
The report, we meet next Monday to continue planning for the 4th of July.
Beautification. Great. No report. Okay. 2 weeks ago, as William made mention, walked the Ferrisburg Nature Preserve, which is spectacular topography. I love the topography in there with all the hills and valleys. And then last Saturday, we walked KLH Dunes. And there was great turnout for that. Probably what do you say, Gary? 25, 30 people at each one? Yeah, so it was great turnout and had refreshments and wonderful. Trying to think if there's anything else I need to add. I can't think of anything. Motion to adjourn, please.
Your Honor, could I ask Craig a quick question?
Of course.
This MDOT thing that you put in our packet, that anything concern for us?
No.
Okay.
It's Susan.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Mr. DeWitt, motion to adjourn.
You got it.
Great, thank you. Thank you all.
I love it when you go fishing for emotion.
Yes.
That phone call was supposed to return. I had it on do not disturb.
Thank you.
There's two signature pages for the MOU. One of the mayor's, he was saying, I'm not sure how we're doing.
Okay, very good. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I've had workmen at my house for weeks now.